Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to episode 6 of Maker's Viewpoint podcast. My name is Dylan from the YouTube channel Woodbrew. I'm joined as always by Chris from Toolify
Hey everybody.
and Justin from You Can Make That.
Hey guys.
So yeah, we ended up skipping a week. Was it a week or 2 weeks? I can't remember. But anyway, we had a couple things just getting in the way as always. And we have some more things coming up. So we're actually gonna be prepared this time and pre-record a couple of episodes. So we do apologize for that. But trying to be more regular now. So anyway, up to Justin.
Lately I am still in the process of restoring those old we talked about in a few episodes ago how I went to that like antique fair thing with my friend Anthony, and I picked up a few vintage tools. So I'm in the process of just restoring those. It's an old vintage drill press and one of those sheet metal breakers, but that's about it. That's all I've been working on. School's been getting in the way. Chris, what about you?
It's been going, things have been, work has been a little busy, but I just completed a video for a sponsored project for a caulking company, but I'm making a DIY electric caulking gun, and it actually turned out pretty cool. I can't really say too much yet until the video gets approved and all that by the sponsor, but should be out within a week or two. And yeah, that's what I've been up to. Dylan, how about you?
Yeah, so it's funny. I haven't been doing anything for really the past week and a half. So I had my finals for college due. I think I finished them all up like sometime last week. We are sort of preparing to go to Makers Fair, which we're leaving for in 6 days. But we've been hard at work for probably 3 solid months without really a break at all. And although the trip is going to be a break, trips are exhausting and a lot of work too. So we've decided to take off a couple of days, and we've been pretty much doing nothing but hanging out at the beach and drinking ices and just chilling out for the last like 4 days just to get like a full reset and recovery before we head to San Francisco for a week and then come back for a lot of work ahead of us. Although, like I said, we do have 6 days left before we leave, and we are planning on building a mid-century coat rack during that time, and hopefully some more little tips videos. We've been doing a lot of these little super short, like 4 to 6 minute tips videos recently that have come out like every other day or every third day. So hopefully we're going to continue that and get some of those shot. But yeah, not much has been happening other than stressful finals and chilling out on the beach. So it's been pretty awesome for me.
So feedback wise, how's the audience or like your viewers reacted to those little short clip videos? Is it good? Do they want more? Is just analytic wise?
Analytic wise, it looks terrible. The numbers are, well, I'll say that the view count is low, but the engagement is high, and everyone that is engaging is loving them, and we're actually bringing on subscribers from them. They're not big money makers. They're not making lots of views, but they are giving Phil information on projects where we normally don't give a lot of information. So I think a lot of people are enjoying them for that reason alone. And they also sort of make us more consistent, us more favorable for the algorithm for our bigger videos because we are uploading more often. That tends to work in your favor. But unfortunately, the last month and a half has been one of the worst months and a half on paper for us in like probably 6 months. We've gone into like a major lull of like nothing's hit. We have 3 really big videos out that I thought would be viral videos,
Yeah, like
which
the
you
bed
never can
one.
tell that. But yeah, the bed one, the giant entertainment center that's been heavily promoted by Rockler. Lots of stuff has been happening, but our views have suffered tremendously. Our subscribers have gone way down. I don't know what the deal is. I've experienced these before. We've experienced this twice now, and then you come from one of these really far down lows to a huge spike, and that's usually the way it goes. You know, one of the people that I would say are very similar to us in the same position, or were in the same position. See, when we had a giant spike 2 months ago, we surpassed them in subscribers, surpassed them in views and everything. Now we're in a little lull, and they just flew up. So it's just a back and forth game of who's on top in the algorithm, really. So we'll get out of it. It's just a matter of time till something happens.
Yeah. And it's always random. Sometimes it's always random too, like the videos that you never thought would do well just shoot up.
Yeah. But then also, yeah, like we've had a lot of videos, for instance, like the Murphy bed, which is I thought would do extremely well. Like I thought it would do as well as I thought this bed we just built would do. And it did nothing. It set at the same number of views as bed as that for probably 3 months. And then maybe like 6 months later, it was at like 200,000 views from 10,000.
Yeah.
So, and now it's like at 300,000. So it's odd how that can work. And I'm hoping that's the way it works with some of those, is that they'll kind of catch on. You know, I think I really screwed myself over on those two. I tried this new tool, this vidIQ tool.
Mm-hmm.
But I tried they have a premium version that helps you identify better key terms and tags and stuff like that would be best for your videos.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to get rid of it, because since I've used that, this has been my terrible month when I started using that little helper thing. And this has been the worst month probably in a very, very long time.
It's funny.
If you look at
that, because I started using vidIQ, and granted, my channel cannot compare to same content-wise as yours, but since I started using it, I think I became too focused on using that, and almost I wouldn't say putting my editing and everything in the back seat, but I don't know, looking at like what you were saying, right? The certain tags, right? That more often, right? Like let's say basketball phone case. If I put in basketball and that was one tag, and then phone case as another tag, it lists it from 1 being the best to all the way to 100 something, right? I think by me focusing on that too much, I don't know, it just, ever since I got it, I think I haven't been producing as much content that I wanted to, or my views haven't been as much as I thought they would be, because I think I'm focusing on that too much than necessarily my actual editing, and I'm focusing too much on algorithm than I think I am.
Yeah, overanalyzing the algorithm. Yeah. I mean, and the issue with the algorithm I've found is that to really see the effect of it, you have to do one thing, the thing, whatever you change and start doing differently, you have to do that differently, but consistently for a long time, maybe as much as a year, to really see the result of it proper. Yeah. Otherwise, those short-term blips and little changes you might make, the algorithm doesn't always, like, unless you really screw something up, then things can go sharply downhill.
Yeah.
The sharp uphill spike takes a while.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting an uphill spike. I was really trying to be able to get more suggested stuff just by using relatable key terms that other people are using for relatable videos. And I think that's really screwed me over, because that is sort of the breakthrough of the algorithm from 4 years ago that has been since changed and corrected. And I don't know that vidIQ is, and I'm just saying this, I have no experience in this to tell you if I'm right or not, but I think they're still using the same sort of system that worked 4 years ago. And YouTube analyzing that I'm using tags from other videos and saying, hey, we're not going to promote him because we can tell that he's trying to fool the system or try to use exact, and I could be totally wrong, but it's been very odd to see my views pretty much fully decrease and my suggested feeds drop instantly. I've already canceled the service because I'm like so paranoid about it that's what it was. and I've changing all my tags back to like simplest tags possible. And I haven't seen any help from that so far, but I think it's because it's still reset, because I think every time you change a title or change a tag,
yeah, it'll re-index,
kind of like lose your position.
It has to
So
reanalyze the video.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I screwed myself over with that majorly. It's a great tool. I wouldn't recommend it as a primary.
This episode is not sponsored by.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it's a great tool. I really love it. I love the. It's great. It gives you a lot of information that you don't necessarily get any other places, but they have some boosted sections that I get like a free thing in and all that kind of stuff to try. And that's where I think it kind of screwed me over. And I think it's, like I said, I think it's because they're still stuck in an algorithm that was working 4 years ago. Because I don't know if y'all remember, but there was like probably between 3 and 4 years ago, there was a giant body who knew how to do it, could just go viral overnight pretty much by exploiting the system and using the right keywords. Now they don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get into the topic, guys. So negativity. How do you deal with negativity? Negativity, both starting this business and going into YouTube and sort of committing that and telling people that school is not really my number one priority anymore, that this is. So I've dealt with a lot of negativity from a lot of different people. Thought it'd be interesting to hear y'all's point of view, sort of how y'all deal with it, how you convince yourself, or you maybe not even have to convince yourself, but let yourself know that you're doing the right thing or what you think's best for you. So, Justin, what kind of negativity have you dealt with?
So I usually, when I first started, it was a lot of the, kid, why are you doing this? Or kid, it must be nice. The biggest one I always got was, kid, it must be nice having all your daddy's tools. And you can look at that as negativity or not. In my mind, I look at it as negativity because, one, I paid for almost all my tools that are in my shop. They're not my dad's. A few of them are, probably the miter saw and maybe one drill is. But I look at that as either the person's jealous that I have those tools and equipment and that I'm at a younger age than them, or honestly, I don't know, that they just have nothing better to do. Just, it's not even a troll. It's like they'll mean that as like, well, if I had those tools, then I could do this, or if I had that equipment, then I could do that. That's one type I get.
Yeah,
lately,
those are annoying.
The other one. Yeah, lately the other, or I could see you have it because you have Festool, right? You must get a bunch of comments on that. I don't even have that nice equipment. I just have equipment, and I spend a decent amount of money on it, but I'm not trying to put it in everyone's face. The other type of negativity I get, and it's been happening a lot lately, is it always goes back to that stupid basketball phone case video that I talk about all the time in these podcasts. And right now it's over 330,000 views, which is ridiculous because it's one of the stupidest videos I've ever made, something I didn't even care to do. The reason why I made that video was the first Maker Faire I went to. So that would be the 3 Maker Faires ago. I went the first day, saw Jimmy, got inspired, went back home, made that video, and then went back the next day. And for probably about a year and a half, it stayed at like 400 views. And then it maybe went up to 800 views. And then now in these past few months, it's shot up to over 300-something thousand views. But all the comments on it are like either, I got a mild death threat on one. I got one saying that like, this is, some of them are pretty funny. Some of them are like, I'm sorry, this is a waste of time. You're stupid. You could have just bought a basketball and then bought a brand new phone case and kept both. Or why do you destroy basketball? Or some are psychotic. Some's like, if I was your brother, I'd rip your face off and kill you. And I'm like, oh, cool. But it's and some of them are straight to the point, and they're like, F you. I'm like, cool, that's it. And that's like the whole comment itself is just flat out says F you. So it varies. Some of them are hilarious, some of them aren't. And honestly, I look at them. Usually, I get them while I'm in school, and I'll check my email, and it'll say I got a new comment on that video. I kind of overlook it. It's one thing if it like. The daddy's tools comments, those kind of get on my nerve because it's like, look, they're not this video, I know it wasn't supposed to be an amazing video. I know it's not going to appeal to everyone. It doesn't even appeal to me. So I kind of realized I was going to be getting a lot of hate comments. But I feel like either the more you provoke them, your behalf, that it gets to you if you keep going at the comments themselves, depending on what level they are.
But
if
at
it's
the
small
same
ones,
time,
like,
if they reply back to you and all that, then that's engagement and that's good for your channel. So it's a catch-22.
which is true. Which is true, right? But I'm saying, like, for example, if it's cheesy people that don't even have any subscribers, right? It's a random kid, right? Who literally his channel could be playing Minecraft and that's all he does. Nothing wrong with that, but that's all he does. And he's commenting like you're so stupid. Why could you even do this? Actually make good content, blah, 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 blah. And then you message back saying, have you checked out any of my other videos? And then they say, no, I don't need to because blah, 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 blah. I feel like those smaller channels are not necessarily, well, how would I word this? Because smaller channels do build content better, but I feel like replying to those smaller types of comments versus a paragraph about like ways that you could improve this that are more constructive criticism, but at the same time, someone saying, well, if I had all these tools, I could do that. Replying to those, I feel like I'd rather spend my effort on replying to those replies or those comments than necessarily the smaller ones. I always try to reply to comments, whether they're being that looks good or cool. Negative ones, I usually just don't even reply to because I don't want to show that it gets to me, because usually it doesn't. The only ones, like I said, that do are people. And Jamie Page, who's a good guy, I know he's in the comments right now, always gives me crap because he knows that that's what irritates me, is they must have fun having daddy's tools or daddy's money, or if daddy had this. And it's because he knows that's how irritated I get, because when I just started doing YouTube, they're like, well, kid, you're so young, having all daddy's tools. If my dad did this, and of course I could do that. So he'll always say that, but those are really the only comments that really get to me. Chris,
let me ask you this. I know the wonderful opportunity to, and actually, I don't know if I should announce this. I don't know if you've announced this yet, but the Circus Soleil, you've gotten an opportunity to do. Hope that's okay that I said that, but that you're doing really cool stuff with them. And have you experienced any negativity from that? Because I can see how that's something that people wouldn't necessarily understand if they don't actually understand what Circus Soleil is.
So yes, I think we talked about this in the first episode with college, right? Describing to people that, like, for people that don't know what Cirque du Soleil is, it's everyone thinks it's a circus. It's acrobatics and stuff, but it does not use animals and everything. The whole point of Cirque du Soleil is it's supposed to transform you. It's a play. It's a musical, and it's a play, and it's supposed to transform you into whatever world they decide. For example, their newest one was Lucia, which I'm sure it's out of date now. I'm sure they have a new one, but Lucia was touring, and what it was supposed to do is you go into this so-called big top, and it's not even a tent. It physically is a tent, but you'd never know, because the electronics they use, the atmosphere they give you, you'd never feel that you're outside in this massive tent. It's all climate controlled, everything. There's mood lighting, there's mood sound. So even before the show starts, if Lucia is supposed to take place in Mexico desert or some place in Mexico, where water is a key factor. So the whole time you're in there, it sounds like you're in the desert. It gets wild. You don't realize it because they pump in scent, they pump in sound, they pump in lighting the whole time while you're doing it. So it's such a high-tech show. This newest one, like I said, was all about Mexico and everything. And they transform you into this whole world that it's supposed to make you forget where you are. So when people say it's a circus, it's not, right? Circus, you think of like Ringling Brothers or something where you go there and you watch elephants or animals, or I don't know, doing random acrobats. The whole show is designed around acrobatics, but at the same time they incorporate the most high-tech elements, such as being able to pump a full pool into this big top and have it fall through the ceiling and be this giant water curtain that's all computer controlled, and have images come out of the water. Right, but and then you realize, wait, I'm in a tent. I'm in the middle of a parking lot. Where are they doing this from? How do you not hear it? So all this stuff. So they have stationary shows that are in Vegas. The one I just described travels to all different cities, and it started in Quebec. Was that where it started? Either Toronto. I think they're casting agencies in Quebec, but they started in Toronto, Canada. I'm not sure. Don't hold me against. I don't know. I'll put in the show notes where they started. But yes, as Dylan said, I got this opportunity to do their elite training, which is 4 days of intensive training in Vegas, doing their rigging and their lighting and their animatronics. And in Las Vegas, they have one of the most technically advanced shows, in Northern America. It's all hydraulics. Their show is called KA. So their main training facility for all the stagehands and everything is in Vegas. But dealing with negativity with that was a lot of people are blown away, but they aren't blown away until they find out what it is. Originally, most people were like, "Oh, your son's going to do the circus." Doesn't he want to do something else like that? Like we talked about it, how a staff member at my school, right, was talking to me about college, and she was like, "Well, kid, if you want to go run away with the circus, that's your problem, but I'm trying to look out for you in the long run." And I'm like, excuse me. First off, you probably should not be telling a kid that if that's what he wants to do as a career. And it's not like it's a bad career either. Being a technical director, I'm not being an acrobatic. A technical director is someone who would take time to go over all the lighting, the sound, and everything I named previously. So that's really the only negativity I get towards that, is when people don't know what it is, and then they take the time to find out what it is, and then they're usually impressed. What irritates me is when people are naive to learn about something, whether it be this YouTube content, anything. It could be politics, which I know is really big, right? Getting in arguments with people because they're too naive to hear the other side, or anything, whether it being whatever side you are. Those are I think the types of negativity I deal with. But that's really about it. I haven't heard too much negativity about the Cirque du Soleil thing, but that will be It'll be next week, during the week of Maker Faire. So I'll be coming back Sunday, and I'll be at Maker Faire all Sunday. I literally fly in at 9 a.m. and I'll be at Maker Faire around 10, 11:30 maybe, the latest, and I'll stay there the whole day. And I'd love to meet up with any of you guys who are there. But it's a love-hate relationship, because I love Maker Faire. I wasn't able to go to Atlanta this year. So I was looking forward to Maker Faire, but of course this amazing opportunity came up and is during the exact same week as Maker Faire. So yeah, Chris, thank you, Dylan, for bringing that up. Though I appreciate that. Chris, I know you use all Festool and Festool everything. How much negativity do you get by that in your videos?
Yeah, I mean, it's not 100%, but it's much of it is Festool stuff. Oddly enough, I just got back from a Festool roadshow show today at a tool store near here, Atlas Machinery. So met some people there, but basically, yeah, there's a lot of people. I get those daddy's tools. Some people think I'm sponsored. I'm not. So those kinds of comments are not unusual to me. I have adapted the stance of that they help my channel grow, because it is engagement on the content. Now, as far as addressing the comments, I used to reply more often and say, no, this is the situation. At some point, I sort of got tired of it. Once in a while, people will step in for me, and like I got tired of writing the same thing over and over. I guess some people genuinely have questions and just are genuinely, with good intentions, curious to know how you got what you got. And for some people, it is inspiring to hear, like, well, go the story. I mean, it's not a pretty story. The answer is basically work for it, go to school, go find a job, work, make money, and buy what you need through working. An appropriate, what am I trying to say? An appropriate, a thing that is that appropriately justifies the time you spend, and then you get something back, and you can decide how to manage those funds and what to use them for. So I really believe in the buy it once sort of use it forever philosophy, or maybe that's impractical to use forever, but let's just say the buy it once philosophy. I don't like the idea of buying tools or electronics or whatever it is, and like upgrading them, right? If I'm gonna buy something, provided it's within my financial ability, I will just go to what I want, what I want in the long run, just like right away, day one. And that way I find I am spending less time searching for constant upgrades and craving that sort of feeling. It lets me focus on what's really important, because I have friends that I see, like they'll obsess over purchasing a something as simple as a pair of headphones or something like a computer, and it'll be this debate, like it's an internal debate within you that just consumes so much energy and time. And I really look at that and I want to say, if you value your time, you will realize you're spending like an enormous amount, like hours, days, weeks, months, maybe, trying to figure out how to save a few dollars here. And I don't know, maybe it works in some cases. Like I don't consider myself a big spender at the same time, even though you may look at my workshop and see it's like, oh, wow, this is like really expensive. But in practice, I just try to I try to take actions that allow me to clear my mind. And like an example is the Festool domino joiner, which is a really expensive tool. I thought about that for like 2 months and I couldn't do anything while I was debating internally. Should I buy this? Should I not buy this? Should I make my own? Maybe I'll still make my own one day, but it's really difficult for me to get out of that situation, right? Like once it's in my mind, if I buy an alternative product, like let's say I buy a biscuit joiner to substitute a domino joiner, then I know myself well enough to know that I will keep, like that domino joiner will still be on my list of things to one day buy, and it'll keep bugging me in my mind. And it's gonna take away from my capacity to do other things. So at that point, I just make the call and say, okay, I'm just going to buy this so I stop thinking about it. To sort of complete this story, within the last, well, this year, and probably longer, I have to look back at my purchases, but I have not. I have equipped my workshop to my satisfaction, and I'm not really like seeking out or craving new tools right now. I'm content with my setup, and that's the place I want to get to. So this was a really long discussion now to sort of justify, well, yes, I have experienced this negativity, but I consider it, I consider choices like that, the choices I have made that some people are giving me a hard time for. I would encourage more people in the world to take their time and do something that creates value for the world, and in return creates like an income source for them. And then once you have that, then do what makes you happy and try to clear your mind. I really believe in that. I mean, that's from like a total tangent. It's like meditative and Tai Chi stuff, but.
So I think you said this, but you didn't buy all your tools all at once, right? Did you make a plunge, basically saying like you're going to get a miter saw and a vac and a something else tool all at once, or did you buy them slowly over the course of a few years?
I bought them over the course of a few years. There were some more sudden additions over that time, especially with Festool. The issue you have there is that they'll do like annual price increases, and one year there was a pretty steep price increase. And at that point, I loaded up on a fair number of things. The funny side of that story is that if I actually go and look at tools that I have purchased, tools that I like the first group of tools that I have purchased, the price increases over time have made it to such that today I can take those tools and sell them as used tools for more than what I paid for them. So they're almost like an investment in that sense. It's funny. They do retain their value, it seems. So that's one positive. But I feel like I'm not really comfortable talking about this stuff and like talking about my day job. I feel like people would probably maybe like to see a video about that. At least some people will for sure be interested in a video like that. Maybe one day I will figure out a way to address this that I am comfortable with and sort of go out and say, this is how I have acquired these
but
products.
you shouldn't have to.
In a way, I was going to say, in a way, you don't need
You
to
shouldn't have
justify
to, though.
yourself to people. I mean, that's basically what these so-called trolls are trying to get out of you. Is basically they're commenting this.
You shouldn't have to be like, I'm not going in debt. Yeah.
Exactly. You shouldn't have to be the one.
You shouldn't have to be like, I make $100,000 a year.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's no. I mean, let them wonder.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if you don't feel right doing it, by all means, don't. You don't need to. I mean, it's okay to barely talk about it, like briefly in one of your videos. Be like, over the course of a few years, or over the course of years, I've built my workshop upon blank and blank. Like if you're doing a shop tour or something, but you don't need to be like, hey, for all you guys trolling me and everything out here, or commenting saying it's all this. Look, I save my money. I do this all hard work myself. Blah 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 blah. You don't need to justify yourself. You shouldn't need to.
I would literally just say I'm very fortunate in the job that I have. It allows me to be able to afford all of these things. That's the easiest way to go about it. Or my work ethic and me being fortunate to have the occupation I do allows me to be able to have these things. And I realize some people don't have, that ability. So there's no reason to go super into detail.
Yeah, it's just like the only thing is, the only reason I would be interested in making a video about it is to if I could help other people that like young makers that maybe are trying to achieve something, and just at that point there really is a genuine interest, and you can kind of do some like life advice tips, that kind of stuff. I don't really mean like addressing the trolls. It's more like, what can I do that will help people?
I got you now. I thought you meant you were going to be like,
guide them down a path, show them it, like, to get this, you most likely have to do things like that, or I shouldn't say that. Like, it's more like, to get this here is one way to have a certain like goal. Because like the thing about videos and what we do is that it is very it's a very narrow view of the story and like everything about us, right? We record only a small part of our lives. We heavily edit this part that we record. So we have an enormous amount of control over what we show publicly. And I mean, inevitably, we're showing the good stuff, the positive stuff, the fun and exciting stuff, because we don't want to make videos about negativity. We want to talk about negativity that is something that we want to veer away from, right? I mean, to be positive enough.
What you're saying about not showing your whole other life aspect. I mean, people were asking too, like, right? I know, Chris, you stopped for a little bit of time posting content about your channel. People don't know the whole other side, right? Like of that you actually have a big job and everything, and people a lot of times are like, oh, this dude gave up on YouTube, or oh, he's just done, or stuff like that, right? And going back to justifying, is at one point should you have to give a little explanation, or do you not even want to do that? Because I know other big YouTubers talk about how if you're not posting content regularly, you shouldn't start your video off with always apologizing, versus just roll with it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going with that, but I feel that you shouldn't necessarily always need to justify yourself.
See, I would actually be very happy to put out a video, because I know there is a certain group of subscribers that does care about, you know, those things, like what's going on. So basically, this is like a mini vlog about my life video within the brand of like Toolify right now, which is a woodworking media content company. But then posting these little vlog updates, as great as they will be for those viewers that care. We were talking about this a little bit before the episode, or no, was that in the episode? The YouTube algorithm, right? Stuff like that will have a pretty big impact on your channel, because it's not going to get basically, when somebody subscribes on YouTube, they subscribe for a very specific video, and they expect all future content to be similar to that video. So if you're a DIY stuff woodworking channel, the majority of your audience only cares about the DIY woodworking stuff channel. They don't really care about your life. And I was talking to some YouTubers recently that tried this exact thing. They were a DIY channel, pretty big channel, close to 1 million subscribers. And they started doing some vlogging content. They found that those videos hurt them, because nobody cared. Nobody cared about their lives. They didn't have that personality about them established. It's different when you see a video posted from Casey. You're expecting he's gonna, you know, you're fine if he's showing his kid in the vlog, and right, because he has established that is his content and his style.
I agree with with what you're saying in the fact that it may hurt you, but I disagree in the fact that I think YouTube channels are totally different than anything else out there. It's hard for me to even call a YouTube channel, because I don't think you should apply the same rules to it as a legitimate, maybe brick and mortar company or something like that, because a YouTube channel is an expression of yourself. It's you putting out content that you want to put out. It's not you saying that I'm only going to put out this stuff. If you feel like you want to put out something new, that's totally up to you, because it's your thing. Into a gun store and seeing flowers, right? You'd be pissed if you went to a gun store to buy a gun and it was flowers there, right?
Yeah.
If you go to a YouTube channel, you're going to someone's basically art portfolio, things that they wanted to share with the world. And if you don't agree with all of them, that's okay. There's a reason why you get to click and choose on which videos you want to watch. I think it is important that you clarify in the thumbnail or the title what it is that you're about to do by putting vlog or something like that. But I disagree in that you shouldn't do that, and that you should worry at all about the way people are going to perceive it, because there is, like you said, a giant audience that cares about that section, and the people who don't care about it, they're going to keep scrolling as it's in their subscription feed, and they may get pissy every now and then, but I guarantee you that the amount of people that get pissy over the amount of people that actually enjoy it is far, far less. Well, at least that's what I've seen. I mean, it depends, I think, on size too.
Yeah, I don't even care about, people writing comments or anything. I literally mean like, and this is where it starts to get very, what to say, complex, because it really comes down to the YouTube algorithm is somewhat broken, right? In my opinion, at least for things like this, because YouTube does look at like part of the stuff that factors into how YouTube promotes your channel as a whole is based on how your most recent video has performed. So when you publish a very different video that it may not even get negativity, but it's just like it's different. It has the word vlog in the title. That disadvantages the channel in the algorithm. And I mean, as much as I do try to prioritize my own desires and what I want and make the YouTube channel what I want, at the same time, I am striving to have the YouTube channel become a significant source of income one day. And in having those two competing things, it can get tricky to choose what to do, because from my view on this has always been, well, I can make this update vlog thing and explain why I'm not posting videos, but then that's not going to get many views. And there's a good chance, you never know for sure what the algorithm will do. We don't know what the algorithm is, and it's always changing. But stuff like that, I can say with a fair level of confidence that it is not very good for a YouTube channel as far as like getting increase in views and increase in subscribers, which are important to me long-term, since I seek to turn this into an income source. That's the path I'm walking.
I think you're totally correct, but I think there's a line that has to be established there, because if there's been, you can watch and look and even listen to anyone who's gone through it. I know Jay just went through it, and I don't want to call him out on it, but when you go through a period of time where you don't post, you see a significant drop in anything, all over the board. Like Jay has seen he was just talking about this in one of his vlogs, that he's seen a tremendous amount of decrease all over the board on views, subscribers, everything, because he hasn't posted. And I think his hadn't posted in like a month or something like that, maybe less than that, 3 weeks. And so, yeah, I do think you're correct. I think it comes to a point, though, getting content out, letting people understand what's going on, having content available for people to watch is more important than not having any new content. Nothing that could possibly grab someone's attention.
Yeah, I think you're right there. And that's where my perfectionism sort of starts to hurt me, because I for sure can identify with wanting everything to be super, I don't know, super high standard. And when I do things that are, I don't know, questionable as to, just even if it's all in my head, like I don't feel so good about this video, but I kind of have to release it because, like, schedule. The reality is that the YouTube algorithm today, what I'm hearing from creators is that the YouTube algorithm does not prioritize quality. And sorry, I'm just like being super negative right now, bashing on the YouTube algorithm. Totally contradictory to what this episode was supposed to be. But I'm calling myself out for it. YouTube prioritizes quantity over quality in today's algorithm. That's how it is. I mean, quality is still very important, because if you do quantity you still have to, the quantity has to be quality stuff too. You can't just automate the thing. But posting stuff, as you say, Dylan, better than not posting stuff. And that's well, all I can say is I hope to be more consistent in the future, because I still continue to have difficulty being consistent. I'm gonna
All right.
go.
I'm gonna go into this negativity thing.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Yeah.
Dylan, we haven't asked you about that.
Yeah. That's
All
basically
right.
what I was gonna throw too.
All right. I'm gonna start from I'm gonna go through steps, I guess, of negativity that I've faced, all the way back to middle school and then working my way up to now. So in middle school, I faced probably the most adversity and negativity in all of my life. I don't tell very many people this at all. Very few people know this. I guess other than the people that may have been involved, and I doubt they'll ever listen to this. But I was actually bullied fairly heavily in middle school. It was at a time where athletics met sort of this more alternative lifestyle that I enjoyed. It sort of met firsthand. As you get to that age, girls come into the play, and athletics is like the thing. And I was kind of veering off the athletics path and more into the sort of being a skateboarder, an adventurer, a maker, like doing things that were different. And I faced a lot of negativity during that time. Probably some of the worst I've ever had in my life, to the point where it really did affect me. It affected me a lot. So I wanted to go back this far just to let people know that may be really young that listen to this podcast, that as bad as it was back then, I'm so glad that I did things the way I did, and then I kept true to myself, and I didn't try to be someone I wasn't back then. If I hadn't, who knows where I would be today? Probably not here. Probably not in the same circumstances with the same opportunities as I have today. A lot of the people who gave me the same sort of negativity back then definitely stuck with what they were doing and definitely don't have any opportunities today. And the ones that they're doing probably aren't what it is they want to do. I just want to make sure that you all know that if you are young and you're going through that sort of bully phase, that those people mean nothing. Those people obviously aren't your friends, obviously are never going to have a positive impact on your future. Therefore, you should never associate yourself with them. Stay as far away from them as possible. Stay close to and stay true to yourself and to the friends that you have during that time. And just do what you think is right. That's the ultimate thing, especially at that age. Do what you think is right. Do the path that you enjoy the most. I'm not trying to put any sort of morals into you or anything like that, but just do what it is you want to do and how you want to do it, and treat everyone with respect, because I know at that time that was the worst possible thing that could happen, especially at a young age like that. Bullying can really, really, really get to you, and it did to me. It was, I'll just put it like that. It was rough. I'm not trying to say that, I'm not trying to have anyone feel sorry for me. I know it wasn't as bad as what I know some other people had dealt with during the same time, but I dealt with physical and mental and just sort of just abuse through those years, and it was rough. I stayed true to myself, though. I didn't let that stuff bother me. I stayed doing exactly what I was doing, and I found everything that I have today during that time. Moving into high school, I had fully separated myself by then. What I'm saying now, I'd fully grasped that by high school, and I'd figured out that I just needed to stay on the path that I was going down, and I did. Throughout high school was me just moving further and further apart and further away from negativity and further onto a path of happiness and less judgmental things. I know high school especially is a lot of drama. It's just literally that's what high school is. It's just dealing with constant drama that people just make because there's an absence of it. I mean, it's literally all it is drama. And if you can get yourself away from that and look down on everything from a pedestal, I guess you could say, that's a bad way to say it, but look at it from the hilltop and really look down on everybody else and see what it is going on, you'll be able to tell immediately that it's smaller cliques forming cliques and just making drama just to make drama with no real reason.
For no reason whatsoever.
It means nothing. And it'll mean nothing to you when you graduate. It'll mean nothing to you in years after. None of that matters. In fact, most people that you are friends with now or associate yourselves with now, you may or may not be friends with 5 years from now. So keep that in mind. Stay true to what you want to do. Keep doing what it is that you love doing. Don't let anybody tell you any differently. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not going to get anywhere in life just because you're not doing what everybody else is doing. That's the biggest lie ever.
So I do have to ask you,
if you're doing exactly what everyone else is doing, you're going to end up exactly like the most average person.
Yeah, you're saying this very well.
I was going to say I agree with almost.
Go ahead, Justin.
Almost 100% of what you're saying. I had a very similar situation as you, but what I noticed was, right, me being same thing what you were saying. I think not so much an outcast, but knowing what you want to do at such a young age and being happy with what you're doing and not necessarily fitting the norm. The people that bully you per se, have you noticed now that you're older? Because I've noticed it. Not that I wouldn't even say that I'm older. Probably like 3 years later. The ones that did bully you at the time realize now that the fact that you have your own passion is actually kind of cool and started becoming friends with you or try to reach out and become friends with you. Did you notice did that try and happen with you?
Oh, absolutely. I've dealt with a lot of that, way more than that I ever want to even deal with. I mean, I had friends turn on me. I had all sorts of stuff happen in high school. One of my best friends just moved apart. We moved apart from each other and went down different paths. Don't have anything against that person. Don't have anything against it, but yeah. So like, there was a lot of times that I moved away from different people, and then those people that bullied me, I guess I could say, they have definitely come back now and have wanted to be interested. But I'm gonna get back into like the full spiel here.
Yeah, sorry.
So in high school, like I said, I knew what I wanted to do, or I more or less knew what I wanted to do. Most people don't know that. Most people have no idea what they want to do, and I realize that. But what I want to encourage you to do is start trying things so that you can actually figure out what it is you want to do. Because the problem is with people who don't know what they want to do is because they haven't experienced anything other than what everybody else is doing. Most of those people are doing the same things every single day. They go to school, they come home, they do their homework maybe, they go out on the weekends and bowl with their friends, they wake up at 12 o'clock the next day, and that cycle continues from middle school all the way to when they graduate. They never get out, they never go do anything differently, they never explore different things, don't take opportunities when they come up.
It doesn't just continue until they graduate, it continues until they retire. That's the problem.
Exactly. And you're never going to figure out anything that you want to do if you never try things. And that's what most people's problems are. You're not going to find something out immediately that you love. I've tried out hundreds of things. I know I've said this a lot. I've done so many different things growing up. In fact, I thought at one point I was going to be a professional baseball player. Maybe not professional, but I wanted to play in college. And that was a real passion of mine. People stood in the way of that. People got in the way, lots of drama. I ended up having knee surgery. And through that, that was one of those times where I look back at it now, and it was a passion of mine, but I think I was looking at it from a perspective of not necessarily trying to be like other people, but trying to fit in, I guess. I hate that because it really was a passion of mine. And I guess some people sort of stood in and ended up making me not really want to be a part of it much anymore. And from that, I moved on to other things that I now enjoy, which is a great thing about it. I'm really glad that happened. But then I also had this perspective that I was going to be a mechanical engineer. my freshman year, when after I had knee surgery, all this was happening, I was like, I'm about to study my butt off. I'm going to do because neither one of my parents went to college, and all I've ever heard from my entire life is that college is everything. If you don't go to college, you're never going to be anything. So from freshman year, I knew I was going to be a mechanical engineer. All the way up to my senior year, stood back and looked at what a mechanical engineer actually was. It was no longer just this sort of thing. I actually went and talked to mechanical engineers, found mechanical engineers, and figured out what they actually were doing, and it was not for me. I decided that was not the path I wanted to go, and I dropped it, just like that. I think that's a lot of people are afraid of dropping things that they've been consistently doing. I know a lot of people get in a trap, say like they've been playing baseball their whole life. So they're like, why would I stop now? This is what I'm good at. Even if they're not passionate about it, they're like, why stop? And when you don't stop, it gets in the way of you figuring out things that you are passionate about and finding what you truly love. So anyway, getting through high school was pretty easy. Middle school was rough. By the time I got into high school, I had figured things out a little bit more. Going into starting up this business while being in a community college, being in a community college, no matter if, especially in my area, a community college is not necessarily looked down upon, but it's not necessarily unusual. But most people, I guess I should say, that were with me went to four-year universities where they're now studying something that they decided to study. Most of them, at least, they decided to study like the week before they signed up. And so I'm in a community college, and that's a little bit like, why are you in a community college? I thought you made good grades. Like, what are you doing? You should be at a four-year school. I didn't want to. I had a scholarship there. I didn't want to go to a four-year university and have debt and all of these things, and I didn't even know what it is I wanted to study. But during that time, I faced a lot of negativity around that, around me deciding to go that route and me deciding mechanical engineering and to try to explore and find exactly what it was that I wanted to do. And during that time, I had a lot of people, mainly adults, come to me. Like anytime you meet up with someone, it's like, hey, how have you been? What are you doing now? Oh, really? You're at a community college. Thought you were going to do mechanical engineering. And there's a lot of like condescending conversations that I had during that time. And I just had to make sure that I had to make sure that I looked at things from above. Like I said, that's always very important. You don't want to look at something straight-minded and think of it in the exact same way that you've been told. You want to look at it and look at everyone around and kind of sort of discuss with yourself what it is why you're doing it, why you're actually going down that path, and then figure out what's driving you to do that. And when you do that, when you figure that out, it's much easier to stay on task and stay true to yourself, I guess is what I should say. So during that time, I faced that sort of negativity of just mostly people. Moving on to when I actually started this business and started like basically more or less not wanting to do college anymore, which I still don't. I just finished up my semester. I have one semester left. Thank God.
Congrats.
But I started this YouTube thing. And a lot of negativity came from that. First, it came from my dad, who's very supportive of me, has always been very supportive of me. But it was sort of one of those things where he had no idea what it was, right? It's a cool hobby. It's a cool thing to do. Yeah, you might. But, he's never experienced. He doesn't know much about the internet. He doesn't know what the actual potential of this thing is. And so for a while there, I had some sort of pushback a little bit, I guess you could say, of kind of sort of second guessing it. What's your backup plan? Those sort of questions. What's the backup plan happening here? And as things progressed and I started picking up actual corporate sponsors and things started to roll, other big opportunities came up. He actually was able to see the full potential and really become fully supportive of it. And So yeah, that was some of the negativity that I faced. Some of the other negativity was just general conversations with people. Maybe they're like had previous teachers or just other friends' parents that I would see in public because all their kids are like off at college, right? And they see me and they're like, "Yo, what are you doing? You home for the weekend or something?" And I'm like, "No, I'm doing this woodworking thing." And they're kind of like, "Oh, okay, cool, whatever." And that's some of the negativity I faced. But all that is just going back to exactly what I've said before. It's just you've got to figure it out. You've got to figure out what it is that you're doing, why you're doing it, and then you can overcome that negativity really easily. Moving on to YouTube, because that's sort of, I guess, the big.
And I'm gonna add, and believe in yourself. Don't really take too much what other people say. Don't take what other people say too seriously, because ultimately they don't know you the way you know yourself. Stick to that thing
and they
that
also
you
don't know
know
what it
you
is.
want.
Yeah.
And
most of the time,
and
they have no idea what it is you're talking about.
And I was going to say,
when you say I'm a YouTuber, they have no idea what that means.
Yeah,
they think that means
people understand
somebody
that.
in their basement.
Dylan, how many of your I'm saying different from your close friends, like I know you mentioned Luke. Besides Luke and your close friends, how many of your friends at the time when you started doing this YouTube thing, Molly, knew, or not even YouTube thing, just woodworking in general? How many of your friends knew that was like your passion? Because I know,
I think everyone knew it. I met
personally, like the people at my high school, they know that like now that's what I do, but very few people know I have an actual YouTube channel that I mean, my close friends, obviously, yeah, they know about it, and they're my friends, whatever, they support me, and then they make fun of me at sometimes, but it's your friends. But most, like, I'm not the type of person to go and publicize at my school that this is what I'm doing, because I know I'll get a lot of negative feedback, and frankly, I know I'll get made fun of for it. But at the same time, if you come across it, I'm like, cool. I'm glad you found it. I'm not trying to hide it from you, but I'm not trying to put in your face. Do you feel that way with your channel at the time when you started doing this?
No, see, when I really started this, I was actually out of high school, so I didn't have to deal with that. But in high school, everyone knew what I was about. Everyone knew that what I liked to do, that I was more adventurous, that I liked making things, and it was sort of threatening, I think, to a lot of the people that had previously made fun of me or done anything like that. As they matured and as they realized how little they knew about themselves, it was threatening to them, I think, to see someone who had been so different at one point in time starting to see them and starting to think, wow, that's sort of like, I don't know, I really would like that. I think a lot of them got to the point where they were kind of like, man, this is weird, but it's so cool that he actually has like something going for him. Because at the time I was doing woodworking in high school, and I would do projects for people and make money and do commissions and stuff like that, and everyone knew me as that. Everyone knew me sort of as, like, I guess, the businessman. I was always having something going on in school, trying to make money and stuff. And yeah, I definitely towards the end of high school, people, I think, more, I guess I should use the word jealous, started to become more jealous, and that I knew what I wanted to do. And most of them, going back to what you asked earlier, that, over the last year or two, I have seen some of the people that I despise the most, like, DM me on Instagram and stuff, and just random things like, hey, like, see what you're doing. It's really cool. Like, going to be in town, 2 weekends from now. You want to go grab some dinner? It's like, not really at all, now that you're interested. But
I very heavily feel that way too.
I still have my really good friends.
Yeah.
I still have really good friends that I don't necessarily get to talk to. Just, I don't get to hang out with them that often. They're off at college or anything like that. We don't talk that much, but do anything for those people, and we know that from each other, and we're just on different paths. But yeah, there's a lot of those people who were very, very negative and vocal about it to everyone, I guess you should say. that have come back since, which is
So
really, it's enjoyable. It's very
Yeah,
enjoyable, actually.
I wanted to mention this earlier, but Casey Neistat made a video to plug him because we always talk about him. He made a video called "This Pisses Me Off More Than Anything," and he talked about almost the same thing we're talking about now, which is when you're starting out, you're going to get people teasing you. While you're on the path to that success, like whatever success in the stereotype for success is, right? Like money and fame and whatever. On that path, people will be scared of you as you're approaching the success, and they're going to tease you more. But that's where you really have to stick it to yourself and be determined, persistent, and eventually you're going to hit that success point if you can stick to your, like, if you can maintain your determination and perseverance. And at that point, people start to the people that were teasing you now start to want to be you. Yeah. So that was his.
Exactly.
We'll link this up in the show notes.
Yeah, that was a great video. I really enjoyed that. Moving into YouTube, so comments, the way I handle comments, because most of the comments that we get that are negative are same stuff like, where'd you get all those tools? Your daddy bought you those tools. Wow, Rockler really loves you. I wish I had all those tools. And then I could actually do the project you're doing, which is total BS. But the stuff that really pisses me off the most and gets underneath my skin, because none of the rest of it does, but the stuff that really makes me upset is when people try to negate the fact that what makers on this YouTube platform are doing is wrong, and that they're not doing things the correct way, so everything that they're doing is for nothing. That is what really upsets me. There's a whole elitist group of people on YouTube that are woodworkers or just, that think that woodworking is only fine woodworking, that it's only doing things with dovetails and special hand tools that nobody even knows exist. But it's not. Woodworking is working with wood. Look it up. That's what it will say. It's working with wood. It is doing anything you want with wood. It's making something.
We have a T-shirt.
So
that says that.
This is the show title.
Stuff is ridiculous. I just want to rant about this just the other day because somebody commented on my video and said, like, I used to love woodworking before everyone started calling themselves makers. That it's basically people who consider themselves makers are people who are, this crafty or DIY sector that aren't real craftsmen or anything like that, which is total BS, because I consider myself a maker, and I hope that some people would say that I'm a craftsman or a good woodworker. But the reason I call myself a maker is not because of that. The reason I call myself a maker is because not only do I do woodworking, I'm a metal worker. I do 3D printing. I do stuff out of concrete. I do electronics. I do 3D modeling. I do what else do I do? Art. I do all sorts of different things. Video editing. I do a plethora of things. And for me to come up to a potential client and be like, yeah, I'm a woodworker. Like, it doesn't make sense. I'm a woodworker, but I do this, and this. I'm a maker. I can make things. I can make whatever you want.
It's
when I tell people that, it's
extended to the physical dimension.
People love that word that have no idea what it means, but people who grew up in a system where, like, they didn't have any information accessible to them hate it. And the reason is because at the time they had to learn with blood, sweat, and tears, and they had to have years, tens of years worth of apprenticeship to learn what somebody now can learn in an hour of watching YouTube, it pisses them off. And that's the reason why they negate it so much, that maker is a bad term, that they should be calling themselves woodworkers if they're, woodworkers. It's just they're pissed off that
I totally agree with you.
It's now accessible and that more people can do it, and that it sort of lessens the value of a woodworker term, or of a craftsman, or a fine furniture maker. It sort of dampens the specialty of it, because now it's accessible to everyone. You can go to Home Depot and buy a full set of tools that can make you pretty much anything nowadays for $300 or $400, and do it really well. And I think it's honestly because of that they're just upset that their title is not as important as it used to be.
A lot of people I look up to, but also used to exactly what you were saying, right? How did you learn to do that? YouTube? What? No, you can't. That's not the right way. You need to learn this way, right? And I know Mark Spagnolo talked about that a little bit on Facebook. The Wood Whisperer, right, about how someone was like, "Oh, you don't need to go buy books. Don't waste your time. Just look it up on YouTube." And I know everyone has their own special opinion on that, whether if YouTube is a proper learning platform or not. But Dylan, I totally feel it when I see people comment on your stuff or other people's stuff saying you can't call yourself that, or I remember back when this was really done this way. It's so BS in a way, because it's like, how else? I learned half of my skills by watching people do their thing. If anything, if it's done not correctly, who cares? I'm still watching how they're doing it and learning from their mistakes and stuff, than necessarily, taking all these really important classes and doing everything the old-fashioned way. And, well, this was how it was done for so many years. It's frowned upon to experiment and do it this way and all that stuff. So
and my videos are less of informational, more inspirational. Should put that on a shirt. But basically what I mean by that is that, for instance, we just showed people how to make drawers in the most simplest possible way, right? Just had some guy comment, and he's like, "This is a disgrace, you're teaching people how to do the easiest cop-out way of making drawers." And it's like, no, because the people watching this video are not like you. The people watching this video are people who never used a drill. This shows someone that it's accessible, that this hobby and that this passion is actually accessible, and that you don't have to hand-cut dovetails on a drawer. And it makes people actually want to do a project, regardless if it involves a drawer or regardless if it involves fine furniture. They're like, wow, there's other ways of doing this that are just as strong and just as good, but I can do it with the most minimal tools possible. So I strive to inspire people to get started, and less to give people information to be better, I guess, if that makes sense. I know like Mark has incredibly good informational videos, but if somebody dove into a hand cut dovetail video off of his, and it's the first time they've ever seen woodworking, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, there's a lot to this, and I need 15 of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I can't do this because I don't have that.
That is really great for someone who's already started and interested in that. I just think that YouTube in general is a wonderful place to actually show people that making things is accessible than ever, and that people should actually do it. That's what I personally feel of how it is, and that's a lot of the negativity that I get. We get some negativity based around Molly, because obviously she's a female kicking ass and doing better than most males, but we get that too, and get sexist jokes that I end up just removing. But for all the comments that aren't sexist or are racist or anything that are really bad connotation, I take them full on. I take them head on, not only because it spikes my engagement, and that's great, but also because I want people to know that I back this 100%. I'm not in this to you know, I'll make this a living, so I'm obviously in it for money in some sense, but I'm not in this to just get rich and to make this a, you know, cookie cutter little platform where everyone can come in and sit down with a cup of tea and nobody says anything bad to each other. I'm here to let people know that, like, I want to inspire people. I want to make sure that this craft and making things continues, and that is my ultimate goal. And I want to stand up for that. So anytime someone has a negative comment that's not negative in like a way of like, wow, this video sucks, not like that, but I mean in a way that could actually be discussed in a productive manner.
Constructive criticism.
Wow, the term maker doesn't, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you use that? Then I go ahead and I lay out, you know, my thoughts on that, and we have a full-on discussion. You can go through many of my comment sections and many of discussions for sure, and they're very productive because I hate when people scroll down through a feed and all it is all you see is great video, wow, thanks, and then every negative comment is deleted, or all you see is like, thanks, great video, I don't like this video, I don't like this video. I love to see a conversation happen there.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of the point of the comment section.
I feel like that's a key thing
that
that I should have mentioned too. I don't know, Chris, you do this, but for me, it's very important to leave those comments out there. Like deleting them shows that I don't want to deal with them, and I don't want. It shows that they get to me. So I exactly dealing with what you said. If I'm scrolling through comments and I don't see one thing of negativity, then I know this person's super, in my mind, super self-conscious. Is like, look, I don't want anyone harshing on my videos or harping on my videos.
And it's not necessarily like that for me, but it's more that I'm a very controversial person and I'm very confrontational. So I think my sort of personality just makes me want to be like that and makes me want to stand up for what I think is right, or at least have a productive conversation about it. I'm not one to like stick to one particular side and say, put the hammer down and say, you're completely wrong. I like to actually be productive and point out real things, reasons why, supporting details of why I believe this, and actually have a productive conversation. But that's my personality. I don't think that's right for everybody. I actually personally enjoy that and enjoy having those conversations. Yeah.
All right.
So I deal with negativity different than most people.
This has been really good. I'm going to be the bad guy that says we are significantly over the hour mark. So we're gonna probably close out.
You're doing really well.
Yeah, you know, we'll be back next week. We are going to at least commit and do our best to be more consistent. We know, as we mentioned earlier, there were some hiccups last couple weeks, but
now we were able to plan ahead and know that if there is going to be a hiccup, we'll have a backup episode or something like that. So
So I think we're going to skip over what we're watching for today, and we'll just go to where you can find us. You can find me. Sorry for the slightly abrupt ending, but you can find me on on Toolify.ca, on YouTube under Toolify, and all the social medias as well. Dylan.
Yeah, you can find me at Woodbrew on all the social medias, woodbrew.tv if you're interested in checking out our website. We actually do have 3 shirts available now, 3 options for shirts, which is cool. I know a lot of people have been asking for new shirts, so those are available now if you're interested. Also, don't forget you can find all of us on Patreon if you didn't know that already. It's a great way to support the show if you're really interested. And now we're hoping to provide a lot more very useful information in the future. So business-wise and other things like that. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you feel like it, it'd be awesome to help us out and support us over on Patreon.
Yep.
What about you, Justin? Where can we find you?
You can find me on all social medias. My name is Justin Levine on the social medias. You can find me on YouTube. It's my name again, Justin Levine, YCMT for you can make that. Yeah, that's about it. I'm active on Instagram and Facebook mainly. So if you want to contact me, please feel free to message me. I'd be happy to get back to you.
Yep, and we'll give a shout out to Devin, who is our top patron.
Oh, yep.
Thank you, Devin. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, Devin.
We actually do appreciate it. Even if it doesn't look like it, we do. Thank you.
That really helps out a lot, keeping the bills paid. Podcast expenses. It's actually a lot. Like, you know, when I was listening to podcasts and people would say, oh yeah, there are expenses, I was like rolling my eyes in my head. It's like, how much can it?
Yeah, like
can
you
it
just
cost?
record.
It costs a lot more than I thought. So we appreciate that. So thank you guys for listening.
And we'll catch you on the
next
after show.
week.
Oh yeah, next week and the after show
And
too.
the after show for Patreon.
The most awkward ending to a podcast.
Sorry, guys.
So far.
All right.
See you guys later.
Bye.
See you guys.